Hi there, and welcome to a post by Ange. I'm Angela, and today's how-to is how to make an easy lasagna. The reason I was inspired for today's how-to is you, the viewers. I was really wanting to give you guys something that is easy to make within the kitchen that will last you several servings. So, or maybe just one if you're a larger family. This would be definitely enough to satisfy your family's hunger for 1 or 2 days. But also for those of you who are university students or high school students who have school all day, athletics, or extracurricular all evening, or if you're the working parent who is at work all day and doing errands and running from your kids' events every day after work, this video is specifically designed for you. So this is a family recipe of ours, and I am so excited to share it with you. This is coming from my mom's side of the family, the Italian side in me, and I can't wait to share. I started with my prep work here. So here I have a cooking onion. I cut off the edge of it, peeled the onion skins off, made a few vertical cuts along the onion, and then made some horizontal cuts so that I had little dices of onion sliced up here. Once I was complete with slicing them in both directions and I was satisfied with its shape, I used the knife to scrape it into my bowl, and then I grabbed 4 cloves of garlic. Now, my trick to getting the garlic skins off is smashing the knife against the garlic and then just using my fingers to peel off the skin. Once I did that with each clove of garlic, I was then able to dice the garlic up, going again in vertical and horizontal cutting motions, dicing until I had a nice fine finish. I poured some olive oil into a large skillet pan, put the heat on medium, filled a large pot with water, and put that on high so it could boil. I found a rectangular oven-safe baking dish, poured some jar sauce, pasta sauce, into the bottom of the pan, and shook that around until the entire dish was covered at the bottom. Placing that pan off to the side, and then brought in a bowl of ricotta and 2 eggs. So I cracked the eggs over the ricotta and added my spices into the bowl. Here's some cracked brown pepper, followed by some dried parsley, some dried basil, and some dried oregano. And I put a lot of each in. I like it nice and spicy. So here's what it looks like. And just mixing that well together so that the egg and the spices are blended thoroughly throughout the ricotta cheese. Once the frying pan was hot enough, I added in my ground turkey, as well as the chopped up garlic and onions, and parsley, basil, oregano, salt and pepper, and some pasta sauce just to keep everything nice and moist. So once the turkey was done cooking, I moved into the bowl. You can see it's steaming right there. And next to it in the smaller white bowl is some shaved Parmesan cheese. And now I'm just hand shredding some leftover marble cheese that was in the fridge, as well as half a brick of mozzarella cheese. So again, I only plan on using half a brick. The other half I'm going to wrap in tinfoil. I find tinfoil tends to keep cheese better in the fridge and prevents it from drying out or going moldy. I wrapped the cheese in the tinfoil, placed it back in the fridge, and then began working on my dishes so that I didn't have as much cleanup at the end of this entire process. Once the water was boiled, I put the lasagna noodles into the pot. So you can buy ready-made noodles. I like to cook mine though. And a trick I learned is as the water is boiling is pressing the noodles gently downward so that the bottom of the noodle can cook, and then you'll be able to submerge all the noodles into the water. After the lasagna noodles have cooked for about 8 minutes, I transfer them from the boiling water using tongs into a bowl of ice cold water. This will stop the cooking process and make the noodles easier to work with when it comes to laying them into your baking dish. So you can see my cat has joined me in assembling the lasagna. She's very eager. So we have our pasta sauce, our Parmesan cheese, our shaved mozzarella, our ground turkey, ricotta mixture, cooked noodles, and baking pan. So you'll start by layering your noodles across the bottom of the baking pan. Make sure they're overlapped. And also you want one end to go perpendicular to the other layers. I'm now emptying the ricotta layer onto the noodles and using my spoon to flatten it out and even it out. Going in with another layer of lasagna noodles, you can see I'm starting at the opposite end of the pan. I'm overlayering all of the noodles. I've put one perpendicular to the rest of the noodles to get that tail end off, and now I've added the ground turkey. I'm using the spoon to flatten that out. Putting some pasta sauce on just to ensure the meat doesn't dry out while it's in the oven. Your noodles will absorb moisture as it cooks. And now I'm placing some mozzarella cheese and Parmesan over top of the pasta sauce. And now I'm coming in with the final layer of lasagna noodles. So anytime you buy a package of lasagna noodles, it will always give you enough for one traditional sized lasagna pan. So again, one noodle goes perpendicular, the other go vertical, they're all overlapping. I'm adding the last bit of pasta sauce to the top layer of the dish and using my spoon to spread it out. Again, you want to have lots of moisture for the noodles to absorb up, especially while it cooks, so that it doesn't dry out your lasagna. And I'm finally just placing the Parmesan and mozzarella cheese over top, what's left of it anyways, and finito. Here we go. Now you'll want to cover your dish with tin foil and preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Press start to ensure that it's starting to heat up. And once it's reached the desired temperature of 375 degrees, you'll simply take the entire baking dish and place it into the oven. Close the door and hit the timer for 45 minutes. Use your cooking time wisely. I personally like to use this time to clean up all the dishes and utensils that I've used. That way I don't have as much of a mess to deal with once the dish is out of the oven. 45 minutes have lapsed. You'll remove your baking dish using oven mitts to take it out of the oven. Take off that tin foil wrap, place it off to the side, and you'll place the baking dish back into the oven. This way it'll allow for the cheese to melt, and we're putting it back in for an additional 10 minutes. Now that 10 minutes have passed, I'm going to remove the lasagna pan from the oven, and I'm going to place some garlic toast into the oven directly onto the rack. For those of you at home, you could use a toaster, but I prefer to use the oven directly. So I've separated the pieces of garlic toast, and I've set the oven again for 10 minutes. The 10 minutes in which the garlic toast was toasting for, it also gives the lasagna 10 minutes to cool down so that when you go to remove it from the pan, it doesn't fall apart or it isn't that liquidy still. So I've removed the garlic toast from the oven. I'm now cutting up the lasagna into sections and serving portions. Now I'm going to scoop it out of the pan using both the knife and a spatula to get it onto the plate.
I've been waiting on.
Now there's many variations you can do on a lasagna. There's tons of meat substitutes you can do, vegetables, using spinach or mushrooms. It really depends on your palate and what flavors you really crave. So feel free to play with what I shared with you today, add into it what you will, take out what you will, and just have fun in the kitchen. Don't take it so seriously, and know that you all have a home cook within you. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Again, I'm Angela, and this is A Post by Ange. Thanks for tuning in.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my page.